All right, 6:18 now on Daybreak, and I'm sure everyone out in our audience felt the same thing we did. The light shook in the studio, a major, just a shaking building here.
Yes, we have heard a lot of noises here, and now we're all getting text messages from family and friends asking, was that an earthquake? Patrick, what do we know?
I'm getting the same. My daughter just texted me in Hamburg. My initial thought was there was some kind of an explosion downtown, maybe a truck hit the building. Because I've experienced earthquakes being from California, they tend to feel different than that. There's usually a rumble, a rolling sensation. That sounded more like an explosion, not a slow roll, like just a shock.
Right, but you're hearing from family in Hamburg. I'm hearing from family in Amherst. Everyone is blowing up our phones right now asking what was that, and we do believe it was an earthquake. If you didn't feel it, it only lasted a few seconds. We weren't on camera when that happened. We were there was some video that was shown, but all of us looked at each other, and it
I'm trying to get the latest information
was
myself.
Very frightening for all of us who've never experienced anything, and we didn't know whether it was something that was just happening here at the building. But now that we're hearing from everyone and seeing on social media, it's clear that this was an earthquake, and we're trying to determine just how big it was. We've never experienced anything that size in my lifetime here in Western New York.
No, you know, we do hear about tremors because the Clarendon-Linden Fault runs basically under Attica State Prison. So there is a major fault line that runs through Western New York.
Yes.
However, I have never felt, because that was more than a tremor. It felt like a truck hit the building.
Exactly. That was, again, earthquakes that are caused from faults, which is basically boundaries between different plates. Often can have an explosion or an initial shock, but they tend to have a rumble. They last a while.
Right.
They can take.
This was about 3 seconds.
Yes, they can take 30 to 40 to up to a minute to 2 minutes. This was just an initial explosion with nothing that followed.
Yeah.
There was a sound, right, which was probably just the building shaking, and nothing that followed. And I'm getting reports all over the place.
And now, if you have, we don't know about any damage right now.
Stand by. I got to look for one thing.
Okay. If you do have any damage and it's safe to take a photo, or if you've got video from your camera at home showing the shaking, please send it to us. You can send it to us on social media. Just to use the hashtag #Beyond2. You can email it to us here at the station. You can text it to us as well, or we have a feature on our app where you can also send us photos and videos. We'd love to see them so that we can share them. Everyone's got surveillance video nowadays. Send it to us so we can share it on air this morning here on Daybreak.
Yeah, and a truck going by on the street will set off our ring alarm, you know, the doorbell camera. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of video coming out, but that was just, you know, just that initial shock and then a little bit of rumble after.
And we were in the middle of a story where we could talk to each other as it was happening. We looked at each other and we said, first, is that an earthquake? And then our second question is, or did something just hit the building? That's what it sounded like, and it probably felt like that way for you at home also as you're waking up. I'm sure that this woke you up out of bed because it was that big.
I just heard from our old friend Kevin O'Connell, who said he spoke to Caltech. Caltech is, they specialize in earthquakes. He says that they confirmed it was a quake. I'm still waiting.
Magnitude.
That
will take a while.
That'll take a little while to determine. I'm still waiting to hear from the USGS. They are the official organization that confirms quakes. Sometimes it takes a little while. I can't believe it's anything other than that, given that we're hearing from people all over
Western New York.
Well, and Kevin,
Metro.
Like you, spent a lot of time in California as well.
Yes.
So
and kudos to him to think to contact them.
And again, we're not hearing any reports of explosions, but on social media, that's what everyone is asking. Was there an explosion somewhere? Because that's how quick and strong this was, but we're not hearing reports of that yet. I'm checking, you know, all of our sources right now to find out what was going on, and it does seem like it was an earthquake.
Yeah.
And so you've got your sources here.
Let's do this. Well, why don't we go forward with our weather forecast, and we'll continue to find out exactly what that was. As you mentioned, quakes do happen here. Of course, we think of them in California. We think of them in parts of Missouri where they get them. They also do happen along the Atlantic shore. They're known to happen in South Carolina and other places, but they can happen here.
I do have a question for you that I'm sure a lot of people are wondering. We talk about aftershocks with earthquakes. Can we expect, or should we expect anything right now?
Aftershocks are usually associated with large quakes. Okay. So this is probably a singular event. I just can't believe what that felt like in terms of having been through earthquakes myself. That felt like no other earthquake I've experienced.
Because of how strong it was or how short it was?
Again, that probably was, if I were to estimate, it was a shallow quake, probably in the 3 to 4 magnitude, just based on how it felt. But usually they last a while. They rumble. You feel the waves kind of travel. This was just a sharp explosion of a feel, and then it was over. It rattled. I'm sure things probably fell off shelves. You heard windows rattle. I'm sure it woke a lot of people up and startled people. But let's carry on with the forecast, and you guys continue to monitor.
Right, and once again, send us any video that you might have from any of your cameras at home so that we can share them here on Channel 2 this morning on Daybreak.